All right. Welcome, colleagues. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this meeting. It's a pleasure to have you here as we go through um, what we call orientation. Um, I've not muted everyone. I've not muted everyone because at least as we start, we'll give um, opportunity for the editors to say to welcome you. So that is why. So please, for that reason, just mute yourself if you are not speaking. Just mute yourself. It's being recorded, and we'll have it on our YouTube channel for those who missed it or who want to watch it again. So welcome. I believe you all know me by now. My camera on my computer has issues, so it doesn't show my face. That is strange. So you can see that. So that's why I have that my picture only. This computer doesn't like my face, honestly, so I don't bother it. But what we have this evening is crucial. It's very crucial. So I welcome you. I am sure that we'll be able to finish up before the 2 hours we have planned. But before we start, I just want to use this opportunity to tell you that this is the African Science Frontiers Initiatives Research Journal meeting. This is a dream come true. We have worked on this since the beginning of last year, brainstorming it, discussing it, and now it has become a reality. And as with every other ASFI program, um, we, we're not going back on this. We mean business, and we want to by every means make a positive contribution to African science, scholarship, mentorship, capacity building, and so that our voice can begin to come out as it should. So you have all contributed in one way or the other to make this a reality, and then finally yesterday the first issue. We promised you we are going to have the first papers published from 15th of September. Did we get it? We got it. We got it. So the first two papers. So this is the first paper, very important paper, and it is quite impressive that it is the first paper published in the journal during the time that public protest has become a big issue. I thought somebody would be giving us a shout out there. You just keep quiet. Um, so this paper came out and then followed by the editorial that was made on it. How much does a life cost during public protest? Mirroring the Khartoum 2022 mass protest. So it's important to have this paper, and I think it's worth everyone's reading. So please um, digest it and then send it to your network. Send it to your network um, so that the voice of ASFI Research Journal can begin to be heard. Yeah, so we received several papers for the maiden issue of the journal. Um, some are some are coming up. Okay, some are coming up. Several were rejected. I think we had more rejections than papers that have been accepted or going to be accepted in this first issue. So if your paper is still in the process, don't worry. Sometimes It takes some time to get it done. The reviewers take some time. Sometimes it may be more than one cycle of review. Some of the journals have gone up to 4 times review, and that is to tell you the standard we operate here. We do not just take anything in. We we believe in quality. So this is a very big milestone for us in SFI, for you who have been with us, and for Africa. The journey has started, and we are taking it with our 2 hands to get to a place that we all will be happy. So thank you for the authors. Thank you um, for contributing your piece, and we invite papers from everyone. Even though it's an open access journal with article processing fee, I think this is very minimal, very, very minimal. And if you're a member of ASFI, then it is quite it's half, you pay 50% less of the article processing fee. Just to say that all the articles published during the first issue are published free. All right. So it has been a huge work to get it there, but that is our promise, and we keep to that promise. All right. So let me go back to the agenda for today. So what we're going to do now is I will introduce the editors of the journal, and then I will hand over to Dr. Eman Sob, who will then present on the issue of peer review, and then I will come back to give you some highlight of what it means to be a peer reviewer for ASFI Research Journal. All right, so yeah, so I think this is where I can start. Let me see if I can. Yeah, let me see where I can start. Okay, so if you come to the journal, it is sfiruj.org. If you come to the journal, so please, if you are just coming, we say mute yourself if you are not speaking. Please just mute yourself. Please, let's keep to the decorum of the house. All right, if you come here, this is the landing page. So what you do is meet the editors. It's clearly indicated here. Meet the editors. If you click it, you come to the page that contains information and the nice pictures of the editors. So SFI Research Journal is a multidisciplinary journal. Okay, it's a multidisciplinary journal, which means that papers from any field can be published here. Okay, so that is where we are. The future will tell, but that is what we have here now. And so there are many editors to be able to take into account this diversity. Okay, so it is structured in this way. So you have editor-in-chief, which is myself, and then you have two editors. You have editor-in-chief, two editors, and that is Dr. Eman Sob and Dr. Dumisani Hompase. And then after that, you have associate editors, all right? And you have sectional editors, and then you have editorial assistants. Editorial assistants, together with the editor-in-chief and the and the two editors running the daily engine of the journal. So the communications you receive and so on and so forth, once you submit the editorial assistant will work on the papers and give you initial feedback, whether your papers are in order or not in order. If you have not followed the structure, and then after that, they will send it to the editors to see whether it is worth even sending to peer review or it should receive editorial rejection. Okay, so if you come here, if you want to see the profile of the editors, you just click and then there will be a pop-up window that will give you the profile of the each editor. All right. So I will just run through. I will just run through. If you're here, the editors just say hello to the team. I have Dr. Eman Sop. I'm sure she's here. Dr. Eman, can you can you say hello to the audience, please?
Hello, welcome everyone. It's nice to meet you today and welcome to be on board for ASFI-RJ. Welcome to participate in capacity building and for development of African science and research. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, Eman. And I have Dr. Dumisani Hompashe, please. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening to everyone. I welcome you to this meeting. It's nice to be in this platform where we have capacity building, where I'm looking forward to being with you in this platform. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thank you. And I have Dr. Abdul Hamidu Abdullahi. He is the Associate Editor for Governance and Development Studies. Dr. Abdullahi, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here, sir. Good evening, members, and a very big pleasure being here. And I also want to say that it's a platform for continuous learning, and as such, I'm very happy to also be an associate editor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have Dr. Magdi Osman Ali Hamed. He's the Associate Editor for Engineering Sciences. Are you here, Dr. Ali Hamed? Okay, I guess it's not here. I have Dr. Lara Ferrero Gomez. She is the Associate Editor for Microbiology. Are you here, Dr. Gomez? All right, I have Dr. Nabuya Jessica. She's the Associate Editor for Economics and Finance. Dr. Jessica, are you here? All right, I guess she's not here. I have Dr. Olusegun Ewemuje. He's the Associate Editor for Statistics. Are you here, Dr. Ewemuje?
Yes, Prof. Good evening, everyone. It is a great privilege to be on this platform. And thank you.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And then I have Dr. Hans Mbonwu Fonka. He's the Associate Editor for Linguistics and Language Studies, actually.
Thank you, Prof. Good evening to everyone. I am so happy to be part of this wonderful group and wonderful project. I'm glad because I will not only be giving inputs, but I'll also be doing a lot of learning as well, which has already started. So I'm very happy. And I want to believe that at the end of the day, we'll all be edified as we all learn to improve ourselves. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. And then I have Professor Nawal Alamin. She's the Associate Editor for Botany and Environmental Sciences. Are you here, Prof. Alamin? Okay, I guess she's not here. And I have Dr. Nidal Essa. She's the Associate Editor for Medical Laboratory Sciences. Are you here, Dr. Essa? Okay, I guess she's not here. Are you here? All right, I have Dr. Chibuntu Collins Nwokoro. He's the Associate Editor for Pediatrics. Dr. Nwokoro, are you here?
Yeah, good evening, Prof. Yeah, and other participants here. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity to serve SFI and humanity by working for SFI's journal. So I pray that God will guide us through to deliver all that we are expected to do at the end of our tenure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I have Dr. Swat Ali Ahmed. She's the Associate Editor for Public Health and Epidemiology. Are you here, Dr. Swat? Okay, I guess it's not here. I have Dr. Valile Dwai. He's the Associate Editor for Leadership and Management Sciences. Are you here, Dr. Dwai?
Good evening, Prof. Yes, I'm here.
Good evening.
Congratulations, Prof, to the people who produced that paper on the cost of mass uprisings. That was well organized, very impressive. I hope the rest of the papers will be able to measure up to that standard. Really, that was great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And I have Dr. Eunice Foyun Fonse from Bele. She's the Associate Editor for Gender and Cultural Studies. Are you here?
Yes, Prof, I'm here. Good
Okay,
evening
great.
to everyone.
Good evening.
I am happy to be here today as we continue to drive Asfirj's vision and mission to build the right competencies to drive African science. I'm very glad to be in this train, and I pray we continue to do a lot of things as we have started with the Asfirj RJ publications. Congratulations to Asfirj.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I have Dr. Nessin Kubai. He's the Sectional Editor for Public Health and Epidemiology. Are you here, Dr. Nessin Kubai? Okay, I guess Nelson is not here. I have Dr. Jerita Mwambi. She's the Sectional Editor for Statistics. Are you here, Dr. Mwambi?
Yes, Prof, I'm here. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, I'm very happy to be part of this platform, and I believe we shall go far with the SFI, and it is a good learning platform for me too. So thank you very much, and welcome all of you.
Thank you. I have Dr. Obiwane Kelechuku Aroma. He's the Sectional Editor for Economics, Finance, and Accounting. Are you here, Dr. Aroma? Okay, I saw him before. I think some are having network issues. And then I have finally our able editorial assistants who have been working hard behind the scenes. You can't imagine what it means to publish a journal. It's it's a lot, but we have our editorial assistants who have been doing that. Dr. Ajibola Oladejo. Dr. Oladejo, I hope you're here.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be here, and I'm also grateful for the opportunity to be the editorial assistant for ASFIJ. And it is my hope that ASFIJ really meets up to its standard and create multiple impact in Africa and in journal publishing in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. And then finally, I have Mrs. Lizzie Edward Onyenwako. Mrs. Lizzie, are you here? Okay, I guess she's not here. Just to let you know, the recruitment of the editorial board is still ongoing. There are many fields that are not represented. Particularly, we have one addition we have not put on the website, and that is Dr. Patricia Nkweteyim. She is the associate editor for theater, performance arts, and youth. Dr. Nkweteyim, are you here?
Yes, yes, Prof. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I count myself very privileged to be part of this great venture, and I pray that the Lord will give all of us the strength and wisdom we need to carry out this very important assignment. Thank you, Prof, and thanks the great team.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so if you believe, you have the motivation as we have, and you have the I mean, we do not really recruit those who have reached the highest echelon of their career. We are all learning. So if you believe you want to learn, if you believe you have commitment, if you believe you are ready to support SFI mission and vision, and you think you want to participate in the editorial as an editor, please send your CV and a motivation to that. Send it. I will put the email here. You can send it, and we will review it, and we will let you know. So let me put the email here. This is the email you should. Oh, sorry. This is the email you should send it to. So send that, and we will come back. We'll come back to you with a decision on that. All right. So according to the agenda, the next thing we have here is Dr. Eman to tell us about the peer review process in scientific publishing. And after that, I will come back. I'll come back to talk about being SFI reviewer, SFI Arija reviewer, and then we will take the questions and discussions before we close. All right, Dr. Eman, please.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce a brief introduction about peer review process. Let me share my screen with you. Do you see my screen?
Yes, coming up. It's coming up, not yet there. Yeah.
I am Dr. Iman Sobh. I am Associate Professor of Respiratory Diseases at Al-Azhar University, Egypt, and currently working at Taiwan University, Saudi Arabia. I am the Director of Science and Communication for African Science Frontiers Initiatives, and I am editor for SFIRJ. Today we will introduce brief introduction about the journal peer review process and explain various types of peer review and what are the good and bad review and some benefits of being a reviewer. First, we should know what editor should know, what editor want from a paper, and we should know what they are searching for from paper so that we are either as authors or as reviewers can work together to help improve the process of publishing papers and also improve the current work and identify the best work to be published and if there is any scientific misconduct. Editors usually want something that have importance and original, not necessarily novel, but have something of novelty factor, which means that there's something new to be added to the scientific community and something that is relevant to the reader. For example, if the journal is generalized, differ totally from the journal which is specific in some scientific field because the readers have more knowledge and more need more details about the work to be published. And also they need something to have usefulness to the readers and ultimately to the scientific community. I mean the impact of research. Sometimes they need something which have excitement, which we call the wow factor. Need something that push readers to read it and to have the link with the journal, and they need work to be written in a clear and engaging writing. The peer review process is the evaluation of work by one or more of people of similar competence to the authors of the work, so they are called peers. Peer review means that other scientific experts in the field will check research paper for validity, significance, originality, and clarity. Modern peer review not only limited to journals, but includes also grant applications and project applications. There is a review process for ethics committee and a review process for conference papers and abstract. And we last year, we invited some of you to be reviewers for the abstracts submitted to the SFI conference 2023. And also this year, we did the same. The peer review process started, there's some reports that there was older during the 17th century, older societies request for peer review. But actually, the peer review process becomes an established process during 1930s to 40s. There is some published letters telling a jokey story about Einstein, who accustomed to publish without peer review process, but newly journals in Germany started to think about peer review and they sent his paper for peer review process, but he didn't like this and refused to publish the paper with them because he thought that they do something which is not he didn't like. They sent his work to someone who evaluated, but which is jokey in the story that he published his work in another journal, but he takes the comments of the previous reviewers into account. Mostly authors didn't like peer review process. They hate it and they think this is something which is annoying to them. Also, Einstein does that. The peer review process sometimes the paper have several rounds of review. The first thing is the technical check, which is done by usually by the technical office of the editorial board or the editorial assistants. Check for the suitability of the paper with the journal guidelines. I mean the requirements for the way of typing, the font, the formatting, which section should be present in every type of article, and so on. Then one of the editor handles the journal. So here we started with the author writes and submit article to manuscript. This article is technically checked by the editorial assistant. Then one of the editor checked the article for suitability to be published in the journal, which I mean is it in the scope and the aim of the journal? Is it suitable for publishing or possibly publishable work? And if so, he will send it for peer reviewers who are expert in the field. This process is called internal peer review or editorial check process. Sometimes the editor rejects the paper at this stage, which is called desk rejection. Then when the editor finds the article is suitable for publishing, send it for peer reviewers. Peer reviewers check the paper, send their comments and recommendations, and then it may be returned to the author to correct and respond to the reviewer queries, and then return to the editor to check that, and return to peer reviewers, maybe several rounds of reviewing. And at the end, the editor review the suggestions from the reviewers and can take a decision depending on that. Either decision depends on all the process starting from the editor to the peer reviewers, and then before publishing, the article is formatted, typesetted, and then returned to the author for a check if everything is okay before publishing, or may be rejected. The author should respond to the editor and reviewer comments point by point, and resubmit the revised article at all stages, even if this lasts for 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds, whatever. He should respond at every stage point by point. The peer review process, as you see here, go through different stages, and each stage it can have suggestions, and it can have recommendations. Some improvement can be made to the article, and then every time the editor, the reviewers, and the also technical office of the journal, it check the article for suitability and before final production. So the technical review is done by editorial technical office to see if the manuscript fits the journal standards in terms of technical standards, checks the paper to ensure in-house formatting requirements that are adhered to, and any manuscript that does not meet these requirements of formatting is returned to the author, and this is not a rejection. This is returned for correction of journal requirements. The editorial decision either accept without modification, I mean no further changes are necessary, which is very rare in the scientific field, or minor revision. Mainly minor revision is minimal changes are needed to existing figures or text, sometimes correction or language editing, sometimes different way of presentation of results, or adding a few points to introduction or discussion section. The major revision here, sometimes they are required to do new experiments or new analysis before publication, or major changes to the text, the style of writing. They may ask to rewrite the introduction section or discussion or results section, or reject with opportunity to resubmit. Here, the manuscript is of interest to the journal, is of interest to the editors, but the required changes usually need more time and effort from authors, but the editors are still interested. Reject here, there are many types of rejection. At first, as we said, there is desk rejection or office rejection, where the editor rejects the paper at first time he sees it because he thinks it is not suitable for publication. It may be out of the scope of the journal, it may be of no interest, or it may be scientifically not good. Or rejection after reviewing. Here it is the article or the manuscript is not suitable for publishing in the current journal, and sometimes paper is if no interest to the journal or there is some scientific comments. So the peer review is either internal review by the editorial staff of the journal or external review by experts in the field. The importance of peer review is that you have another a pair of eyes, another two eyes to look on your work. These eyes will check every section of the manuscript and add suggestions and recommendations to make it look better, to make scientifically good, to add to the scientific community and to add to the field. So how to achieve the editorial requirements from papers? As we know, some few present here are editors or some have some experience in the editorial fields. Editors lack time, they are busy, and the editorial job, even the reviewer job, is some addition, and it is a part-time participation and not paid job. And also editors lack the experience in all fields submitted to the journal. So they need another one who have experience to improve the current work and to decide if this work is publishable and will add to the scientific community or not. The review process starts from the editors think of reviewers or referees, and they think of reviewers and referees in the subject where the paper is lies in this section. So where they find the referees, sometimes they look in the references. They see people who did similar work, and they can take some authors or referees from the references. They look in related papers. Sometimes they have, all journals have a section for suggested reviewers, and suggested reviewers are used to build a journal database. Rarely we use the suggested reviewers, the author suggested to review their paper. These are kept for the journal database, and in case, very rare cases, in case of we didn't find any reviewers, we can use them to referee this paper. Also, editors may have mental database like our colleagues, people who are in our network, like in ASFI platform, we have good communication and collaboration from different scientific fields across Africa, so we can use this as a mental database. Usually, editors avoid undesirable referees. Sometimes the authors comment that they didn't like or oppose people to referee or review their paper. Some journals have sections for opposed reviewers. You can write them and write the post for opposing those reviewers. They avoid co-authors, especially people who have co-author during the last 2 years. They avoid referees from the same institution as all authors, and acknowledged persons and people who have direct or competition with the authors in the same field. Busy referee, and we know that from database all the time we see people how long time they take to respond, or even if we invited one reviewer to review a paper, we wait some time before asking him to review another paper till he take time to finalize his work. Consistently slow referees, especially those who take more than 8 weeks to review a paper, and those those who consistently provide poor peer review. Those who provide poor or bad review reports usually avoided for consequent invitation. There are different types of peer review models. Different types depend on timing. There are preprints, pre-publication, and post-publication peer review. On the identification, there is single blind, double blind, or open peer review. And sometimes depends on the interaction between reviewers and authors. Here, there are different models. Sometimes reviewers interact with one another openly, or the editor who takes the responsibility of interaction, or there is open platform where the authors and reviewers interact with each other. It depends on the publication. Peer reviews may be not publishable, and it is kept in the journal archive, or it is publishable but not signed. So you have the peer review report published online, but you don't know who peer reviewed this, and it may be open, published, and signed. So each review report is signed by the reviewer. On the facilitation, there are different types: review facilitated by a journal, or facilitated by a third party like a company or organization or a separate office, or facilitated by the authors. The ownership of the peer review report, sometimes it is owned by a journal or third party, or owned by the authors of the review, I mean the reviewers, or shared or mixed ownership of reviews. The most common models of peer review are single blind. Here, I mean the reviewer is anonymous to the author, so the author didn't know who reviewed his paper, but the reviewer knows the authors. Or double blind, both the reviewer and the author are anonymous to each other. I don't know each other. Or open, no one is anonymous. Or there is a collaborative form. There is a rounds of discussion between the authors and the reviewers. There's a kind of post-publication peer review, where either blinded or open review after publication of the papers, and some journals offer that. And there is a form which is transferable. I mean, if the publisher have different journals on the platform, they can send the review reports to another journal if the manuscript is rejected by the first one and the author submitted to another journal on the same platform. And they take consent from the reviewers to transfer their review reports to another publication. There is a box to check during acceptance of reviewing process. The peer review model of ASFIRJ is a single blind peer review system. So in that case, authors do not know the identity of the reviewers of their manuscript, but the reviewers will know the identity of the authors. And until the article is published, reviewers should keep the content of the manuscript confidential. Reviewers must ensure not to reveal their identity to the authors when commenting the submitted manuscript. And this is one of the ethical behavior for single blind peer review, and for all types of peer review. They shouldn't interact with the authors outside of the journal, or if the peer review process is not collaborative. Referee, please do not communicate with the authors. All your through the platform, and all comments should be directed in the place where you are required to do so, and do not have personal search, novel or original. Is the manuscript conduct What is the contribution of the paper to the scientific community and or society? So thoroughly and completely to provide importance of the paper and to contribute to improve work. If you have any suggestions that can improve work, please do so. Identify errors, misinterpretation, or overinterpretation, and crimes of passion committed by the author. Sometimes authors have overinterpretation of their results. They also fill in gaps, missing information. Sometimes something is missed from the author, known to the editor. The reviewers are responsible to filter out flawed work and prevent its publication. So take the peer review process seriously and have commitment to your work. Who can be a reviewer for ASFIRJ? We have minimal requirements, absence of any conflict of interest in relation to the content of the submitted manuscript or with any of the authors. So the reviewer, if have a conflict of interest, should disclose this to the editor, and the editor will decide if the reviewer should continue to review this work or not, and not have published together with the authors in the last 2 years, has relevant experience in the field of the submitted paper to judge the scientific quality. These requirements make a responsibility on the reviewer to decide. If you do not have the experiences, if you do not have the skills to review any paper, please answer no and reject the invitation. Do not accept to review a paper which you are not expert in this field. If you are invited to be a reviewer, please communicate any conflict of interest to the editor. Do not accept paper when you don't have time. This is very important because wasting times of the journal editors and also of the authors and delayed publication process makes people unhappy and unsatisfied, and sometimes they have depressed mood from this. Some people have a limited time for their promotion or for their projects to be published. So please take it into account, and if you don't have expertise. Read the manuscript carefully. Sometimes it is beneficial also to read similar works in the field. Read all sections of the manuscript, including the abstract, main text, supplementary materials if provided, to ensure that you are acquainted with the content of the manuscript and you have the complete vision or complete image to judge this work. Please also pay careful attention to figures, tables, data, and correctness of language used in the manuscript. As a reviewer, you are expected to perform your task in a timely, transparently, and in an ethical manner. And I recommend before starting peer review for any process, for any journal, for any conference, for anything, please read the guidelines for authors and guidelines for reviewers. And here there are links for author instructions and reviewers instructions on the SFIRJ website. Please read it carefully before starting the review process. Who is a good peer reviewer? He should accept promptly an invitation. Don't waste time before accepting or rejecting invitation. If you are willing to review, please accept. If you not, please reject, so that gives the editor time to invite other reviewers. Return the peer review on time. Provide confidential comments to the editor if he or she detects any misconduct, such as plagiarism, unattributed work, unethical procedures, or duplicate publication. Disclose potential conflicts of interest and decline the invitation if there are any with the authors. Good peer reviewer is polite, honest, and clear to the authors. Write clearly to be understood by people whose native language is not English, and most of us are so. And avoid complex or unusual words. Review the author's work as if there was their own work, and be fair in his or her comments and judgment to the editors, as if the authors might read them too, and if the reviewer signs the peer review. There are several researches and publications concerning with the peer review or assess the reviewer reports and see that the reviewers are more kind when the peer review is a report is published and signed than when the review report is blinded or in personal sent by personal emails like the single or double blinded peer review. But this means that people sometimes look about their image, not about the impact of their work. Good peer reviewer also respect confidentiality of the work. This is most important. Please do not communicate the manuscripts you are invited to review with other people without the permission of the journal editor, even if for educational process. Sometimes some people who are in academic institutes want their student to learn how to peer review and exchange their work with. Please don't do so. This is a confidential work. Do not use the information from the manuscript prior to its publication, or communicate about the manuscript with outsiders or even with the authors. We spoke about good peer reviewer. Now we will have some items which considered a bad peer reviewer. Bad peer reviewer does not take his role or seriously, fails to provide thoughtful and constructive feedback on the manuscript they are reviewing, may have biases or conflicts of interest that interfere with his or her ability to provide objective evaluation, may lack necessary expertise to evaluate the manuscript thoroughly, does not adhere to ethical standards of peer review, such as maintaining confidentiality and avoiding personal attacks on the authors, may not meet the deadlines or provide feedback that is not relevant to the manuscript being reviewed. Sometimes the reviewers provide very, very general comments that is not already related to the manuscript they review. The one who speaks in an unprofessional or disrespectful manner, they attack the authors personally. It is recommended that don't take it personally. Look at the work. Do not attack the authors. Do not judge them personally. Non-objective, non-organized, or non-instructional or informative report. Many worries are listed in an organized stream of thought without indicating the most severe ones. They see that I feel that this work is not good to be published. What does this mean? I think that this work is plagiarized. Do you have evidence which paper it is plagiarized? And so one that offers a suggestion but does not support it. Sometimes the peer reviewer asks for experiments which are not relevant to the work. This is just to make it complex process and delay the work. Also, if he sets excessive expectations, you should consider that the authors should respond to your comments point by point. Please think this. If this comment or requirements is possible to be achieved, the author can respond to this. If you request any modification or new experiments, can this be done or not? Some people suggest 17, 8 experiments to be added to the work. Phase 2, identify major flaws to communicate criticism to the authors, to improve their manuscript, and to inform fraud to the editor. Also, those who do not review all manuscript sections, they read it generally light reading and may not read the sections like references or illustrations or supplementary work. There are some types of bad peer reviewers, like a snapshot reviewer who only reads and replies briefly. Just I like this paper, I don't like it. I think this paper could be published. No comments about the soundness of the work or the strengths and weaknesses or limitations in the paper. Mixed signal reviewer who is associated with a discrepancy between the comments. Some comments that this work is very good and should be published, and some comments that this work is not scientifically well and should be rejected. Also in the conclusion and recommendations of the review. Some reviewers have a hidden agenda. They call the hidden agenda reviewers who replies only confidential comments to the editor without comments to the authors, or with different comments to the authors from the editors. So they said to the authors that your work is very excellent and your work added to the scientific knowledge and no modifications are required, but have confidential comments to the editors that this should be rejected and this is not a good piece of science, okay? A reviewer who asks the authors impossible requirements that we said, insists to making several experiments that may not be relevant to the work, and a reviewer who express dishonest remarks and discourages the authors. Sometimes they have competition and they want to delay the work. So the defects in peer review process may be slow, may be inconsistent peer review report, may have bias or unethical behavior. Bias include institutional bias, like reject papers from these prestigious institutions, and this the results of research work done about this was published, where the authors took already published paper and made some modification and resubmitted the papers to the same journals under other names and institutions which are less prestigious, and they identified that these papers who already published in the same journal are rejected, and this was because of institutional bias. Some have gender bias, so male or female reviewers have gender bias. Country bias, reject papers from low income countries, or sometimes there is thought that some countries have a history of misconduct or unsound science, so they reject without looking carefully on the paper. May sometimes have conflict of interest. They want to delay this author from publication. Sometimes have authors bias with the same authors. They have bias for positive and negative results. There is idea that positive results should be published and negative results shouldn't be published. And so the positive results accepted easily than negative results. Sometimes language bias, so they reject papers from people who are not native English speakers, and also opposite theory bias. If they are have in mind and they are uh, confident with one theory, and they reject any paper which is speaking about the opposite theory. Sometimes there is abuse of peer review process. May be seeing the ideas, present them as their own, produce an unjustly harsh review to block or at least slow down publication of ideas of a competitor, or there is newly identified malpractice or abuse of peer review where the peer reviewer asks authors to cite their work excessive citation. I saw a report where the reviewer asks for a citation of 14 papers of his own work, or sometimes his colleagues, to give honorable or give them credit of citation, and so they increase the H index and citation record. Sometimes this is not necessary for the work. For further reading, this is a good publication about ethical guidelines for peer reviewers. You can download the PDF and read it carefully. I suggest that before starting the peer review process. And finally, the peer review process, you are participating in improvement of the science and research. You are participating in closing the knowledge gap. So do not hesitate to be volunteer, be reviewer for journals, and also take it as experience and learning experience. You will learn more and more, and you will be have more knowledge in your field, and you have more experience in your field after performing peer review process. Thank you.
Many thanks, Eman. Thank you for that comprehensive insight. I hope everyone has been able to pick something from this. It's important. We can continue to talk about these things, but as Dr. Eman has mentioned, peer review process is important. Many authors, um, in the chase to publish papers to get promotion or other incentives have really skipped this very important process. Looking for pediatric journals to publish their papers. So you have a place where friends, husband and wife, people who want to make money, start a journal and you submit there, and it doesn't go through the necessary scrutiny that is required to get your paper published and be useful. So this is important talk Eman has presented. And what I will do now is to continue from there to talk about the peer review in ASFI. So being a peer reviewer for ASFI RUJ. Um, some of the things I would say may repeat some of the things she has said, but I will try to avoid that. But this is a paper. I'm sorry I didn't put the link here, but I will do it when this is circulated. It's a process of subjecting an author's scholarly work, research, or ideas to the scrutiny of others who are experts in the field. It functions to encourage authors to meet the acceptable high standards of their discipline and to control the dissemination of research data to ensure that unwarranted claims, unacceptable interpretations, or personal views are not published without prior expert review. So in science, peer review is very important, and it has two purposes. As a filter mechanism for high quality research, filter those are not of good quality. And then it functions as a process to improve the quality of manuscripts. So if there are manuscripts that potentially publishable, the peer review process will help to make them better to be published. All right. And so through that, the peer reviewers will provide suggestions to the authors and will help to identify errors. And through taking control of this, the paper will become better for publication. I told you that the first issue of the ASFI Research Journal, I would say that more than 60%, of the papers were rejected for various reasons. So that is what the peer review helps to achieve, to ensure that what we have are sound. And for SFI Research Journal, our goal is to continue to publish sound research. We don't want to go down in that. We have set a very high standard for ourselves, and we want to improve in that. And what that would do is it will also encourage those who submit papers to SFI Research Journal to ensure that they do it well. All right, so the peer review is a filter mechanism, and then it helps to improve the quality of potentially publishable research. Just to emphasize again what Eman has said, the peer review process is a mechanism through which science grows. Science grows through scrutiny. So we do not just accept something because the person who research it is a big name. No, we subject everything to scrutiny so that we ensure that what is published is right and is of good quality. Is it perfect? No. There are many papers that are published that get retracted eventually because some misconduct have been found. But for you as a scientist, the peer review is an obligation. It's an obligation. There are some who have indicated interest. Oh, I want to review for SFI Research Journal, and then they have not reviewed, and they started asking, please, I will need a certificate for the work I'm going to do for SFI. They have not reviewed at all. They are looking for the certificate. It is not about certificate. It's like a parent bringing a child into the world, and you say, I'm not feeding that child. No, it is your obligation. It is your responsibility. And so for you as a scientist, if you want to grow, you will grow on the shoulder of others. Others will make input into what you do to make you a better person. And it's also required of you to make such contribution as well to the growth of um, um, science overall. All right. So if you are called upon, take it as a pride that is an activity by scientists like you, like me, for science. Take it as a pride that science depends on that activity to grow, and you are part of the contributors to that activity. All right. So the peer review also brings rewards to the scientists. Like Emma has mentioned in her closing remarks, it is a process through which you can grow. Believe you me, if you do peer review and do it sincerely, you will grow. You will learn a lot. So it sharpens your ideas. It helps you to know what is happening around. It helps you to know how to take a piece of work, critique it, and provide the authors with good comments to improve. All right. So you grow through exposure to various sources of information. So it's a patriotic obligation. All right. Now, being a peer reviewer for SFI Research Journal, I see it as a call to duty for African science. And I have to use this opportunity to thank every one of you whom we have contacted, and you have volunteered your time, your expertise to provide criticisms to the papers that have been submitted. We appreciate that. We appreciate you. All right. It's a call to African science. It's a call to African science. It's your own duty to ensure that what comes from our continent is sound. It has gone through scrutiny and it can stand the test of time. It is your duty. It's a call. It's a call for that. All right. So if you are invited to review, take it as a call. Okay. Then it's also a platform to develop your skills. We sent out a form earlier this year for people to express interest in being peer reviewers, in being editors, or being interns, those who want to learn, who want to improve their skills. So it's a platform to develop your skills as well. Because if you develop the skills of critiquing what people have done, it's a very, very good skill to have. It's a very good skill to have. All right. So see it from this perspective when we invite you to support our peer review process. So there are benefits you get. Okay, no. So this one is what Eman has mentioned. How do you become part of this? So you should have no conflict of interest. You should have no conflict of interest when you are going to peer review. All right. And then you should make assessment of yourself that you have the required experience to judge the quality of a paper in that area. All right. So yeah, when we invite reviewers to review, we'll let them know that there are also incentives and benefits associated with reviewing for a journal. Even though we would not like you to accept to review because of the benefit. It shouldn't review because of the benefit. All right, but we still want to recognize that, because for you as a peer reviewer, there's no payment um, um, you receive. For editors as well, there's no payment you receive. These activities that are obligation for scientists, but we have to find a way to also encourage you, appreciate what you do. All right. So we have 4 sets of benefits. One is that for any reviewer that has reviewed for SFI Research Journal in a year, you get a certificate at the end of the year. All right, you get a certificate from us. So that is that. So whether you reviewed once or you reviewed 12 times, everybody will get a certificate to say thank you. The second one is Exceptional Reviewer Awards. All right. This is given to reviewers during the course of a year who have reviewed and have met the timelines. All right. Have provided quality review and have met the timelines, not those that we start chasing around. Okay. Eman mentioned that. I will come back to that. We said if you accept a review, then review within the time. Okay. And then we have the third one, promotion to SFI Research Journal Editorial Board. So we are watching those who review. We are watching the quality of review. We are watching dedication. So within 3 years of reviewing, we make assessment of the reviewers and judge those who have really done good work, and they can be promoted to the editorial board of ASFI. And then finally, we have the annual reviewer acknowledgement. And so this is that at the end of the year, we'll have a list of all those who have reviewed for SFI Research Journal. And during the course of that year, we'll make a list of that, and that will be published in the journal website at the end of the year. Okay. So how do you start? The first thing is you go to the SFI Research Journal website and carefully read the author's instruction. Know what SFI Research Journal requires from the authors. If you don't know that, it's always difficult to judge properly. You may be talking about, you may be suggesting to the authors to arrange their papers in this structure, but the structure you're suggesting is the structure you are known, not the structure of the journal. And so if you don't know the structure of the journal, you'll be giving a recommendation that is outside the journal prescription. So read the author's instructions carefully to understand what the journal actually requires from the authors. All right. The second one is that then, as for you as a reviewer, read the journal's instructions for reviewers. All right. Read the journal's instruction for reviewers. So for these 2 items, let me go to the journal website. Let me go to the journal website here. If you come here, you can see here, authors and reviewers. And you have for authors, if you click this, it brings you to the guideline. You see, during this first issue, many people were so desperate to publish that they start doing things that are not, they don't come here. They don't follow instructions. They just do it. They write thesis. They use their thesis structure and then they submit. You don't do that. You can't be a careless scientist. You can't be a careless scientist. We have given very detailed instructions how to make your paper good. Some of you will publish today, and in the next 5 years, next 10 years, you don't want to even see your paper. You don't want to see it. You hate your paper. Why? Because it's of poor quality. And so why don't you take the time today to make it a better paper? So read instructions. That is the first thing. Um, 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 Read the instructions. It has been provided here, provided everything here. In fact, how to craft your cover letter. I see some cover letter. You see, we have been so merciful and kind. Some cover letters. People, I learned how to write letters when I was at the primary school, and then I went to the secondary school and I improved writing letters. And during that time, our English teachers would tell you you address the letter depending on who is receiving it. If you are sending it to a family member, the way you address it is different from maybe you're sending to your friends or you're sending to job application. You see, some people fail because they do not know how to express themselves as academicians, and these are important. It tells a story about you. All right, somebody writes, "I'm submitting this paper for consideration, please," and that is it. That's a cover letter. No, you can't do that. The In journals you submit, the editors are so busy that the things that they will give them impression about your paper is your cover letter first. That's what they will read, and then they will read the abstract. And then they can already make a decision whether this paper is potentially publishable in their journal. And somebody is writing the cover letter carelessly. Here we have given you detail of how a cover letter should, the paragraphs you should, how you should write it. I tell you, many of those that have had their papers reviewed in this journal, many of those have not read this. We have given instruction about conflicts of interest. We have given instruction about referencing. We have given instruction about tables. We have given instructions about figures. And then different paper types. We have given that. And yet we receive papers, manuscripts that are very, very badly structured. And then you give the editorial assistants which work to do. And then you delay your paper. And you see that they send them back to them and ask them, please do this, do that. And many of them send back the paper in the same way they sent it before. No. The first thing you do is come to the journal and take your time to read it carefully. Read it carefully. Read it carefully. Understand what every journal instruction is different from the other. So don't assume that. In fact, we received one paper that the cover letter was addressed to another journal. And I think the paper was rejected in that journal. It was addressed to another journal. And this author submitted it to our journal, but it was addressed to another journal. And they still repeated it when the paper went for revision. They still used the other journal. Carelessness. And the impression that gives is that these authors are not serious. So for you as a reviewer, read carefully what the journal has prescribed for the author should do. And then once you have done that, go to reviewers guidelines. And here we have provided you details of what is required of you as a reviewer. Details. And so for those of you who want to be intern, who want to learn, this is a place to start. Take your time. Don't be in a hurry. It's all about improving your skills. And when you know it, you know it. All right? Okay? So please. So that is the things you do, the first two things you do. And then once you have done those two things, register in the SFI Research Journal Manuscript Management Portal. Register your profile there. We have informed you before now. Please register yourself there. The first issue that we are publishing now, we use a temporary manuscript management portal to do that. But now our permanent manuscript portal is ready. Okay? And I can see that Dr. Oladejo has been sending the link to it. So you come to SFI Manuscript Management Portal, you register. So sign up. If you have not registered, sign up there. If you click sign up here, it collects information from you. All right? You have your own, you create your own password, you sign up. Now, once you sign up, then you can log in. Okay? So I have signed up and I have logged in here now. All right? And so you can see this is the landing page for my author. So if I have any submission, it will reflect here. If I have manuscript that have been decided, it will reflect here. If I have manuscript that I've co-authored, so I can see somebody has submitted a paper that I am an author, it will reflect here. If I have a manuscript that has been returned to me, it will reflect here. And then this also has inbox, so communication with the journal is also indicated where here you can see your emails in this place. All right. Now, so for me as an editor, I can be an author, I can be a reviewer, I can be an editor. So for you as a reviewer, once you have this, now you come here as a reviewer. And this your reviewer here is, you register yourself. This reviewer menu is, or port or dashboard or whatever you call it, is activated only when you have received an invitation to review. When you receive an invitation to review, then you accept, if you accept it, then the reviewer dashboard will be activated for you. All right. So that is the way it works. And so this is where you perform your review. So here is review and score. I do not have any paper here. If I have a paper here that I've been invited to review and have accepted it, then it will show here. It will show the due date, the type of paper, the ID of the manuscript, the status, all right, and the action. So here the action will be review and score. So if I click review and score, it will take me to the form where I fill my review issue, my review and the assessment. So let's use example, the one I have reviewed before as a test. So you can see action, the date it was completed, the manuscript ID, and the status here it says under review. So if I select an action, so I can view, I can contact the journal here. So let me view and show you what happens here. Yeah. So in the way our reviewer forms are made is that you have different sections. So you have one paragraph comment. that summarizes your impression about the paper. You have general comment to the authors. You have specific comments. All right. Many times people write general comment in the specific comment. Specific comment are the details of, for instance, you say that, okay, you want to look at the recruitment of participants. What have you observed? Is it well done? If it's not well done, then describe it in specific terms that will allow the authors to make appropriate corrections to their papers. And so now we have given you guidelines of what we expect. So each of these items can be scored from 0 to 5. So we want you to grade each of these based on your impression of what the authors have done. Does the title accurately reflect the subject of the manuscript? So you have questions about title and abstract. You have questions about the introduction. We have questions about the methods and ethics. We have questions about results, graphics, and tables. You have questions about discussion. So all this make it easy for you to read the paper carefully and then address it. In addition to scoring this form, the editors will always want you to provide this comment. This comment. It's not enough to score this and then send it back and without providing the comment, because the editors will read this to make decision. All right. And so then you have overall rating, novelty of the paper, the quality, scientific accuracy, overall merit, the English level, English language level, and then you score that. And then your overall recommendation is accept it. So there are four types of decision. Accept it as it is. Minor revisions required, major revision required, and then reject. All right. And as Emma was saying, you can also provide confidential comment to the editor. All right. Some comments you may not want the authors to see, you can provide confidential comment to the editors. So the point here now is you read the author's instructions, you read the reviewer's instructions, you register on the journal manuscript management portal, and we are 67 here now. I would like you, when you finish this meeting, to register. Register. When you register in the system, let me take you back there. When you register in the system, what will happen is that you would then receive an email. Check your email carefully. You will then receive an email to verify your registration. This is for me as the editor-in-chief. This is my own editor side of the portal. And so here indicates how many people have registered here. Okay, how many people have registered? I can see all the people who have registered in this. All right. So you need to verify yourself for us to be able to use your information. So all these people here have registered, and if I want to see each of them, I can view their profile. And so this is where the editors will pick based on their expertise, those who can review a paper. So I encourage you to register here so that we have your information. All right. So once you have done that, the authors will be submitting their papers. So wait for the editors to contact you for review requests. Once your information is in the system, then it's easy to contact you. All right. So once you do that, the editors will invite you once they get a paper that is in your area. we invite you to review a paper. All right. So prompt response to editor's invite. Respond promptly. Say no if you don't have time. Say no if you don't have time. You see, we have had lots of you can't accept to review, and when it's time for you to supply your review, nobody hears from you again. And the journal contacts you to ask, please, I have you finished your, and you don't reply them anymore. You don't, you just forsake them like somebody who is disowning a child. You just forsake them. No response. Don't do that. Because if you want others to review your paper and give you feedback, then you need to treat others in that way. It's the golden rule. So we have faced this kind of things. People accept to review, and when it's time for them to review, they don't do anything. They don't give feedback. The journal contacts them, no response at all. No response at all. That is not a good attitude. So the the editors also take notes of these people, and they will not contact them again because it is not good for the process of advancing science. So fulfill your obligation if you accept the invite. All right. Provide your review report within requested time. All right. So what do you look for in the paper? I have given you, we have a guideline step by step to ask you questions of what it is in different sections. So that guideline helps you to look for something in those sections. Don't be vague. For instance, you say the authors need to tighten their methods. That is not a comment. What should they tighten? The authors need to reformulate their research questions. That is not a comment. The introduction is not well written. The authors need to write it better. That is not a comment because it's not helpful at all. You can say things like in the third paragraph of the introduction, the author should have said, this is the way it is. Instead of saying it this way, I think they can improve on this sentence, line 4, this and that. All right. So don't be vague and provide comments that will not be helpful to the authors. All right. The focus is to ensure that the study is of high quality and warrant publishing. So ensure that you provide. It's not a place to show your strength. It's not a place to show that you can be critical. It's not a place to show your muscle. It's a place to make science grow. If the paper is not well written, then provide comments so that the editors can reject. But don't bring other attitudes into it. That is not the goal. All right. So the editors have invited you so that you can give critical comment that will guide their decision. They are depending on you. So it is important that this is done properly. I hope that soon, maybe before the end of the year, we'll organize another session where for those who have indicated interest as interns, we can give them the support they need to guide them through that process. So this is really the much I have to say this evening. But please register yourself in the portal. Register yourself in the portal so that we'll have your information, and then the editors will contact you when it is time to invite you to review. All right. Eman, I see your hand. I think my Zoom is having some challenges, but yeah, I see your hand. And if you have any question, please raise your hand. We'll call you so that we can have some discussion before we close. Eman, please go ahead.
Okay. Thanks everyone for attending this informative session. Some asked about how do reviewers can know conflict of interest. Here in the chat, I submitted a link to a form for conflict of interest, and there are guidelines. Is a conflict of interest include anything that may have a relation with the author or the paper or the work to be published, so you should disclose it. For example, some of you may have a relation with the authors, they have ongoing work, but it is not published yet, so they are not identified as co-authors for those people. You should disclose that. Some people may have conflict of interest with work that have business, like a pharmaceutical company or company which sell medical devices and so on. All of these should be disclosed to the editor. And if you take a few minutes to read this document, it will be helpful for you to know that this, you should know this as an author and as a reviewer and as editor. And this is a simple thing. This is not to show criticism, but everything should be disclosed. And if the editor finds this is important conflict of interest, sometimes they may withdraw the invitation. And even if you are an author, this can be published in the conflict of interest section of your paper. Thanks, everyone. And
All right.
also, it is good to know that next week is the International Peer Review Week. So it's a pleasure to celebrate with you today for this.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Eman. Yeah, I think the issue of conflict of interest is important. You see, scientists, many scientists have also got involved in lots of backdoor games, and that is not helpful for science. All right, it's not helpful, and we have experienced it in even in this in our journal.